The USDA gave us a taste of what's to come in its February supply and demand report, with ending stocks larger than expected and a big South American crop on the horizon. Most traders are trying to figure out how this is going to play for the markets and what that will mean to you consumers at home. That is the subject of this week's Bottom Line.
The Bottom Line is brought to you by the Cotton Board, strengthening the fiber of our industry, and by First South Farm Credit, financing rural America since 1933.
February's USDA supply and demand report sparked 9 straight days of lower trading for the corn market, is the best I can say about that. Even though we've seen some signs of life in the markets here lately, it's because the price has gotten low enough for almost all grains that some importers are starting to take a second look at the U.S. right now. While ending stocks for corn and beans were a bit larger than expected, there's still some tightness there, which accounts for almost all of the old crop gains we've seen here lately. As you can see, U.S. corn and beans are both above average trade expectations, but still within the range. Corn stocks are slightly above January's estimates, while beans and wheat are slightly lower. The drop in wheat stocks is due in part to greater than expected domestic consumption for livestock, and poor hay production is forcing cattle off forage there. Worldwide, though, stocks are pretty much within industry expectations and above January's estimates for corn, beans, and wheat. This is due in part to the first South American grains beginning to fill the larder. Speaking of South America, it's Brazil's corn crop that deserves some attention, as they may be getting ready to beat the U.S. for the first time ever as the top exporter of corn in the world. However, much of Brazil's crop is dependent upon late February rains, so these next 10 days will be critical for development and living up to these estimates. The bottom line is, these early reports are having a dampening effect on both the markets and planting expectations here in the U.S. Early estimates are for lower acreage for corn and beans this year, but the important thing to keep in mind is it's still early on. If there's enough of a projected shortfall in acreage, and especially if South American weather turns sour, American farmers will likely respond by planting more. In the long run, the reduced prices will at least be good for both livestock producers suffering from pasture losses, Mike, and our grocery store cost here towards the end of the year.
And it will be interesting, Neil, to see if Brazil can out-export U.S. corn growers. We'll have to wait and see. Neil Melancon, thanks. And remember, you can listen to any of Neil's daily radio reports on the Louisiana Farm Bureau Agri-News Radio Network. For a list of stations where you can tune in or listen online, click on over to our website, twilatv.org, and click on the LF Barn link. That does it for this edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Be sure to join us next week when we'll head back into Holly Clegg's Trim and Terrific Kitchen, where Holly and AJ will be cooking up another tasty dish made with fresh Louisiana ingredients. Until then, you can watch any of our stories from today's program or from past shows on our website, twilatv.org. For all of us here at This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hope to see you again right here next week.